Is the 50mm focal length the best for just about everything? Should this be the lens that everybody needs in their bag? Let's find out today by reviewing this Voigtländer Color Skopar 50mm. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk It Over. The 50mm. It's a lens that almost every photographer starts out with or either buys it as their first prime lens. And for good reasons. For a lot of people, the 50mm has a really natural perspective, on full frame that is. The images that you'll take don't feel as distorted as maybe some other focal lengths. It feels more real, so to speak. And therefore, a lot of street and documentary work is also being shot on the 50mm. So this focal length can do a lot, so that's why it's so popular. Another great thing about the 50mm is that they can have really wide or fast apertures, like an f1.2 or f1.4. This will give it a strong low light performance, but also a really interesting shallow depth of field. The lens that we are talking about today is not as fast, but that's mostly because of the small form factor that this lens has. If you want it to be an f1.2, then the lens has to be bigger. And that's definitely something you need to figure out before buying a 50. And another thing, 50s can be a lot cheaper than some other focal lengths. Don't ask me why though, but I think it has to be because of some technical stuff. And of course there are also some trade-offs that come with this focal length. Some people, including myself, find it too small in certain scenes. And other people might think it's too boring because of the normal perspective you get. No wide-angle exaggeration or telephoto compression. But yeah, all things considered, the 50mm is definitely a lens that a lot of people swear by, and it's versatile. So now the Color Skopar 50mm. This is, like I mentioned, not the fastest one of the bunch. Even if you look at the lineup of Voigtlander, it's one of the slowest. The Nocton, for instance, has a 1.0 and a 1.2, but all of these lenses are heavier and definitely bigger. Something that you need to consider when you are pairing it with your camera. I use Leica bodies, and with a lens that is too big, it can block the viewfinder a bit. But it can also be too big for your liking if you do a lot of street photography. A big lens can attract a lot of attention. So why did I choose the Color Skopar then, if it's not the quickest? Well, the form factor did it for me. And to be honest, I rarely shoot anything below 2.8 on the Leica, so the f2.2 wasn't shocking. And though it's just a 2.2, the bokeh still looks amazing. Nothing too special, but it has some nice character to it. Before buying this lens, I also saw a lot of great example photos of it, so I thought this might be the 50mm that I'm looking for. Small form factor for the M body, but still packing a punch of quality. At least that's what I thought, of course, but I needed to test it out extensively. And another reason why I needed the 50 is because I switched focal length from 35 to 28. And I wanted a longer focal length for those times that I thought I really needed it. A 35 would be a little bit too close to 28 to really make a difference. And after having this 50 in my kit for a while, I came to some conclusions. I really rarely use a 50, only in those situations where I just know I really need one. Like a show, for instance. Or I used it whenever I thought, let's pick it up today. Which isn't bad, of course, but not really as I intended. I thought that I would switch between 28 and 50 a lot more, and I even brought two bodies with me so I can make the switch really quick. But even on my trip to Suriname last year, I didn't even touch the lens. So yeah, a 50 in my kit is really nice. Definitely when I need one, but for day-to-day stuff and documentary work, I just don't pick it up. And nowadays, when I think, hey, let's use a 50, I rather pick up the Hasselblad. But that doesn't mean that the lens is bad. To be real, not at all. This lens impressed me quite a bit. The sharpness is amazing, even wide open at 2.2. Wide open, it has a little bit of vignette, but I don't mind. It's definitely not as much as the 28 version of the Color Skopar. So you can't really go bad with this one, definitely not for the price that it goes for. I don't even feel bad for not picking it up as much. There's one thing that Voigtlander never fails to impress me by, and that is the build quality of their lenses. Every Voigtlander lens that I've used in the past feels like a solid piece of glass with good materials and nice engineering. Even this 50, which is one of the lightest lenses that I've ever used, feels like a solid piece. Made of metal, and even the hood is made of metal, which comes with the lens, by the way. And that's a big thing for Voigtlander. And by the way, they are not sponsoring this episode by any means. These are just my honest opinions. But if you would like to support me and the channel, you can visit my print shop. Got some great pieces over there and even offer framed prints if you want to go all out. Big shout out to everybody who already ordered a print. I really appreciate the support. So yeah, this lens for this price, definitely a good one to go for. The quality metal, the nice focus tab, the hood that it comes with, and let's not forget the quality images that it produces. So for every photographer that's looking for a 50 in their kit but doesn't want to break the bank on it, this is a worthy choice. If you are really a 50mm shooter and you want the best and fastest lens out there, you might want to look to some other models too. But for now, this lens is in my kit and is ready when I need it. I want to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this was helpful in any way. If so, feel free to subscribe and leave a like, and I'll see you next week. Peace.